They only have really one thing to blame, and it falls squarely on the shoulders of those health officials.
It's just science, eh?
Mind-blowing, isn't it?
Well, the full impact of the healthcare crisis is becoming clear. It's Australia-wide, but Queensland is at the epicentre this week.
This is the sort of Queensland I want. I want to preserve our lifestyle. I want to see Queenslanders being kept safe.
But Queensland is at the epicentre this week. We've seen a 51-year-old mother die in her own home waiting for help that never came. A grandfather dying while waiting on an ambulance ramp for 3 hours at Ipswich Hospital.
This morning, we spoke to a Brisbane man forced to wait 8 hours in a hospital hallway. And the state's ambulance commissioner is admitting they need to do better, but questions remain on how and when that will happen.
Let's bring in today medical expert Dr Nick Coatsworth now. Nick, this is pretty dire stuff we're seeing. How are we going to restore people's faith in the system?
Sarah, Carl, it is mind-blowing, isn't it? It is dire, and what's difficult and very different about this is you rarely get such tragic episodes occurring one after the other like this. And it clearly demonstrates that in Queensland, in particular at the moment, emergency care and ambulance care is under immense strain. To restore faith in the system, we've got to remember that our health systems do treat successfully many hundreds of thousands of Australians every year. But when this sort of thing happens, these sort of tragic deaths of 51-year-olds when they're waiting for an ambulance that never came, that sort of thing needs to be investigated thoroughly and ensure that it never happens again.
I can't fathom how I would feel if it was a family member. If it was my mum, 51, dying, waking up in the morning, your child discovers you dead. I mean, your family has to deal with that. That child has to live with that forever. The grandfather who was there, should have been processed a lot quicker, and then they only have really one thing to blame, and it falls squarely on the shoulders of those health officials.
You're the media. Why would you ask any pertinent questions?
And there is nothing wrong with asking decent questions about the safety of families.
Well, it's got to fall on someone's shoulders, and you will note that the Queensland Ambulance Commissioner has taken full responsibility for this and will investigate it. And you have to. I mean, you use that word investigate, it sounds so callous, but that's what you have to do.
We have investigated ourselves and cleared ourselves of any wrongdoing.
You do things called root cause analyses. You find out exactly what went wrong and you make sure that it doesn't happen again. And that's what will happen in these instances. It's cold comfort at the moment, but it absolutely has to happen, and it has to happen quickly, those inquiries and investigations.
I mean, we've heard for months now, and probably years, that this kind of thing could happen. I feel desperately sorry for our ambulance officers.
Yeah.
They're obviously being pushed to the absolute limit. It's a hard job. And now they're going to feel some responsibility for all of this. But how do you fix that?
Well, everybody in the whole health system's got to take responsibility. Of course, at first it's the minister of the day, then it's the health administrators, but then it's all of us. We all have a role to play in making sure this doesn't happen again. Ambulance officers, doctors, nurses, the way we practice. Do we practice efficiently? Do we practice safely? We've all got to be part of this. And if we're all part of it and recognise that it's not just the problem of one individual or one service, then we have a hope of getting ourselves out of it and restoring the public's faith in our system.
It's just science, eh?
Mind-blowing, isn't it?